I was the director when that explosion took place. And it's affected probably everybody in this room on both sides of the table. It's certainly affecting the oil industry. It's not just a BP issue, it's an industry issue, and it's a justice issue. The refinery explosion in Texas City, that day started off just like today. Not a lot of difference. Beautiful morning. USW employees went to work, made a relief. The reliefs didn't see any problems. The folks coming on didn't see any problems. They were starting the unit up, just like they've done hundreds of times probably. But things were going on that they weren't aware of. There was problems that those operators didn't foresee. They never thought or suspected there would be an issue. And they were filling a tower and circulating that tower and trying to bring the temperature up. The tower was overfilling and they didn't know it. And it did overfill. And when it overfilled, gasoline came out of an atmospheric vent at the top of the column. When it did, gasoline poured out on the ground. A huge vapor cloud appeared. It engulfed a contractor trailer that was sitting in the middle of that unit. It shouldn't have been there. When that vapor cloud found an ignition source, and the length of time it took those 15 people in that trailer to kiss their wives goodbye that morning, they were dead. That quick. They didn't have a clue what happened. They weren't USW people. In fact, they weren't even union people, but they were workers. Nobody deserves to go to work in the morning and die. It's not acceptable. It should have never happened. It should have been preventable. It could have been preventable, but it wasn't. A lot of things took place that morning. There were system failures. There were training failures. There was maintenance failures. There was communication failures. It was a terrible tragedy. We saw that this industry has not made any substantial changes in the way they're doing business since that happened. That can't continue. We're going to deal with that issue in the proper forum. We found out a little bit about atmospheric vents. I spent 17 years as an operator in a refinery, and I thought I knew what an atmospheric vent was. Obviously, it's a pipe that comes off a vessel, it vents to the atmosphere. The whole time that I worked there, until I went to that refinery survey analysis meeting, my mind would not think about an atmospheric vent as a pressure relief valve. A simple PRV, it pops to the atmosphere. Every refinery has them. We have thousands of them across this country. They have to be removed. That's got to change. We've got to do something about that. How many of you in here are process operators in a chemical plant or a refinery setting? How many of you have seen trailers parked in the middle of your units when you're trying to start up? You know what that trailer is? That trailer serves no purpose in that unit. It's a convenience item. It's placed there for the convenience of employees, contract employees usually, that are working around that unit. We had one on that unit that morning. For the convenience of some clerical workers, 15 people are dead. We can't continue to have that type of stuff on a unit. It has to be removed. The opportunity is we have to go forward and talk to our management about that. I can't do it all. This health and safety team can't do it all. Y'all have to help with that. Non-essential personnel. There wasn't a person in that trailer that had any logical reason to be there. They weren't operators. They weren't starting the unit up. That wasn't a control space. There wasn't mechanics in there. Well, there may have been one or two crapping in there that were on standby. You know who was in that trailer? Do you know who died that day? It was mostly clerical folks, women, men that were doing clerk work. They were doing payroll work. They were there for the convenience of that contract company. They were there for the convenience of the people to go in and turn in their time. They had no business on that unit. And they're dead. 15 people are dead.